Okay, we're back. Jonathan here, Casino Guitars. We're missing Baxter, but we got Sean.
I'm like the second best thing.
So I was gonna say it was probably an upgrade.
An upgrade? All right. The younger, newer model.
That's right. 2.0.
2.0.
Hope everyone had fantastic Christmas, holidays, whatever you celebrated. I know many of you folks probably got some new guitar gear. Sean, did you get new guitar gear?
I did, but nothing as exciting as what we're going to talk about. I got picks, but picks are great. Thanks, Grandma. They were awesome. They're like the best picks in the world. V-picks.
I did get a fun new hat.
You got a hat?
Which I generally wear my fun hats to play guitar, so it's kind of like guitar gear.
I looked at hats this past week. I couldn't find one that I almost sent you photos because I knew it was like Jonathan would tell me if I'm making a good choice or a bad one.
But let's say you got new stuff, particularly, and this is one reason why you may be an upgrade from Baxter for this video, because Baxter doesn't really like pedals that much.
That's right.
But you like pedals. Let's say you got some new pedals. So some friends of mine, they got their son a Keeley Dark Side, which is like the whole fuzz and then like a vibe and a delay and what is it, like a flange rotary or something like weird.
Every pedal in one. I played with it for a moment and it was It's
like the Pink Floyd sounds. It's very cool. They got it for their son for Christmas. In my brain, everyone knows about pedals, how to connect them from their guitar to their amp, all those things. They did not. He did not. He's new. He's actually a really accomplished piano player, plays some other things, very musical family. But I went over and let him borrow a power supply because they didn't think through that, and I didn't think to tell them, hey, you need a power supply. In my brain, he had other pedals, right?
Yeah. But
I can remember back to being a young lad learning to play guitar and buying a few of those like really cheap Dan Electro pedals after I had my Zoom, and not really knowing like what order they should go in, how to power it. Back then, I don't remember if I just used 9-volt batteries for a while. But like a lot of new pedals, they don't use 9-volt batteries.
I was say, all the Earthquaker stuff does not have a battery snap. And I thought they did. Yeah. And I sold a Plumes to a very good friend of ours. And he gave me a call and he was like, there's no battery snap. Once he got all the way back to his home state up in Virginia. That's
a pain in it. Like, I hate the ones where you have to take the backs off. That's why the way huge stuff is cool with the
Fender
stuff with the little magnet.
It's a little snap.
Love it or hate it, the battery thing is cool. But anyways, awesome. So if you don't know about pedal things, we're going to chat about them. And maybe, hopefully, if you're new to the game, you're new to the pedal game, you will figure out, this will help you figure out how to connect everything. Easiest, dumbest thing, because again, I don't want to assume that you know more than you know. So if you know all about pedals, this maybe is not for you. But if you don't, almost always, if you're looking at the pedal and the controls are facing you, your guitar goes in the right side, the in, and then the out goes another cable to the amp. And if you got multiple pedals, you need those little patch cable things, and you just chain them up. So guitar into in, out of the next pedal into the next pedal's in, then repeat that as many pedals as you have until the last out goes to the amp.
That's right. Now, some pedals, like Boss pedals, will tell you input, output on Earthquaker pedals. Earthquaker pedals. I like that. EQD, better. So on those, some people don't know this, but they've got an arrow going down and an arrow going up, and that means in, out. Some people don't notice that. I've seen that happen a ton, but that was something huge for me once I noticed that. I was like, oh, okay, they all kind of like try to tell you. So
I just always try to think, right side, guitar goes in, left side, guitar goes out.
That's right.
Unless you got something like that Keeley had, the first 1/4-inch input on the back was an expression jack. So you had to read the in and out.
And then not only expression jacks, some pedals are stereo pedals. So my first pedal experience was that Avalanche Run is stereo delay and reverb, 2 in, 2 out, right? Well, I didn't know this, but you have to go into the left and out of the left for the mono signal. And I was trying to go left to right, and then I was flipping around, and I plugged it in backwards. It was a whole mess.
A lot of them are marked. Like one is for mono specifically. A lot of times it is the left input and output. If it's not marked and you decide to use it the other way, at least if you're not running it stereo, go in and out of the same one. So like if you go in the right, go out the right. But rule of thumb for me, even if it's not marked, is I go in the left and out the left if I'm not running a stereo.
And that's why left Twix is better.
There you go.
There you go. You know what else is on top of there, though, is the power supply plug-in. That's huge.
Because why, Sean? You
could plug anything into there and burn the pedal up, and that would be super great on Christmas Day, right? It's like $300. Let me throw it away.
There was a guy in the shop the other day buying pedals, and I was like, oh, you need this, but we were out. We had sold out of one spots because there's been it's that time of year, and it was just hard to get in stuff. We probably underestimated how quickly we could get stuff 6 months ago when we should have been ordering accessories. But anyways, you live and you learn, and supply chain issues. But anyway, so I told him that. I showed him the link on Sweetwater, and he's like, oh, I got all sorts of little random things at home. I'll just try plugging them in and see which one works. Well, and I don't know what they went to, but I was like, well, it's got to be 9 volts. He's like, well, I've got some 12-volt ones and stuff. And I was like, no, don't plug that in. Dude, it's got to match up. So it's got to be the right voltage, right?
Absolutely.
The little MA, like how much power it draws, not as big a deal as far as killing it. It just may not sound right. But if the voltage is not right, you'll fry it. And then the other big thing is whether or not it's center negative or center positive.
That's right. And it tells you on top of the pedal. We'll try and have Derek post a little photo, maybe like right in front of my face here. Like this, kaboom. And
he might not. It's a slack week. Everybody's slacking.
Exactly.
So who knows?
We on that pedal though, you've got this thing that looks like a hieroglyphic right up there next to where the jack inputs are, or next to where that input for the power is. And it's going to show the symbol, right? And it's simple. Once you realize what it means, you're like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. There's a little negative sign, usually going to the inner bubble. And then there's a positive sign going to an outer bubble. And that means center negative. If it's flipped, center positive. It sounds super complicated. But once you know it and you're like, oh.
The vast majority are center negative. Usually if it's center positive, it will say in fairly aggressive
It
writing.
Will. Some
like
of them
use this.
Yeah. I know it's like the full tone stuff. They have like this huge stamp. Then it's like over it is like, bam, this is a center positive pedal. Only use center positive.
And if you're using a one spot or like like I have a True Tone CS12, like the brick with all the isolated power, and you can power like 12 pedals. Lots of different, 18 volt, 12 volt, 9 volts, all the stuff. Couple for like sag to simulate your battery's dying. It's got all that stuff on it. Probably overkill if you're just getting into the pedal thing. But let's say you got one of the one spots in the daisy chain where you can plug like 5 pedals in or whatever. Those are all going to be 9 volt center negative. But if you need center positive, there's all sorts of adapters that usually come with that combo pack to flip it around to make it center positive. Same thing if you're using like one of the isolated power supplies. Usually it's an adapter thing you need. If you've got a pedal like that, you probably know it. But just make sure before you plug it in, don't just trust, because it can fry your pedal up.
That is absolutely correct. Another one, just to touch on with the power stuff, is electroharmonic stuff.
Yep.
A lot of the older ones, and some of the newer ones still use this, but it's like the 3.5 millimeter jacks. If you don't know that and you get that pedal, all those pedals should run off of a battery on the inside.
Most of them.
Don't quote me on that, but most of them do.
I think they do. I think that's true. And sometimes if you don't know, that's the easiest way to do it, right? And a lot of those pedals don't draw much power. But if you're using the battery, unplug your pedal when you're done, or else you'll kill your battery. Because it'll just, as long as it's plugged in, the circuit is complete and it's drawing.
Absolutely. Power. And Boss pedals too always come with a battery in them. New, some people take them out, which I think is pretty cool. I'm like, oh, that's neat. You pop it open, it's like battery in there.
There's a battery in there.
There you go.
I don't like to leave batteries in pedals if I'm not using the battery, because they just corrode and get nasty and swell and destroy things.
I put one in my faux tape Echo, and I know it's still there, and it's bothering me right now in this moment. Like, I thought about it last night going to bed, and I was like, I just need to get up. I need to take it out right now. If I don't take it out, bad things will happen.
You're a monster. Last thing for pedal things to think about. If you got multiple cool pedals, or maybe you had a pedal or two and you got more for Christmas, really quick order. What order would you put your pedals in, Sean?
So delay first, and then fuzz, and then I'd put my reverb before the tuner, right? And then, isn't that it? No.
You could do that. Technically, there are no wrong answers.
You're right.
Just stupid answers, like what Sean said.
That's right. So the real answer, overdrive, fuzz, distortion, right? That's first. This is number one. Guitar going into these, right? And you can mix around with the order, but most people put fuzz first. That doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Then modulation.
This old school,
that's right,
vintage fuzz. Sometimes they don't play well with other things, so you gotta go first. But yeah, drive stuff first. You can play with the order. It will change the sound. But so put the drive stuff first. I like mine almost always lowest gain. The highest gain, That's kind of preference,
I
right?
never thought about doing it that way. I put like weird stuff first after my. Well, no, I actually started putting my fuzz last. That's a whole story later.
I put my fuzzes last too, but they're not conventional fuzzes.
Exactly, that's where I'm sit at, and I always do like a weird thing. You know me, I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
But from there, we go into our weird things, right? And by weird things, I mean modulation pedals, flanger, chorus, rotary effects. What you got?
Tremolo.
Some, right? Tremolo. There you go.
Some people like it last. I like it there with all the other modulation.
That's right.
Just depends.
I swap them around, but at first it's better if you stick to like a rubric like this because it's going to help you kind of be like, oh, okay, this is how this all
It's a place to start.
Yeah.
Then time-based stuff, right?
Yep, that's right.
Usually delays, reverb.
That is absolutely correct. And, you know, I put my tuner at the very end of my pedal chain just as a kill switch. So if anything goes wrong, I just like, boop, it's done. Some people don't do that.
I put mine at the very front. Mine's the first thing.
That's right. But if you wanted to stop some sound in between songs and you have delay and reverb going, you've got the option to go boop and it just...
Or you could just never mess up.
I haven't gotten to that point in my life yet.
Me neither. But I still do it. So you know, if you've got like 18 compressors and weird delays and stuff, you probably know what order you want to go in. But if you're just starting dirt stuff, overdrive, fuzz, distortion, probably for me, it's usually, you know, if it's old school fuzz, it's fuzz, overdrive, distortion stuff in that order. Then modulation stuff, you know, phasers, choruses, vibes, all that stuff. Then delays, then reverbs. That's probably a decent thing. If you got a new volume pedal, I like my volume pedals like after drives, after dirt stuff, before the reverb and delays and modulations. That way, if you like swell in, you don't lose the tails of your delays and stuff. Or if you kill the signal with that, you usually want the delays to keep going.
That's right. And something else that's smart with that is if you wanted to keep your overdrive tones, as you pull off of that, they're not going to disappear, but also if you're wanting to swell in and not have the constant buzz throughout, you know, you can do that very well.
Now, if you want to control your like sort of gain with like your volume knob, but not touch the volume knob on your guitar for some strange reason, put your volume pedal first. That'll do it.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I feel like that's like pedal Christmas done.
Pedal Christmas.
Pedal Christmas. It's like the pedal claws came to me.
Pedal claws.
The peddler.
And just have fun. You can't screw them up. Turn the knobs. Have a good time.
There you go.
Just don't plug them into the wrong thing.
That's right.
That's the whole point of this whole video is don't plug your pedals into the wrong kind of power supply.
That's right. I've seen it done.